Hello, I'm Chris Moore, interim pastor at Montevilla United Methodist Church. Today is Maundy Thursday. We are coming to the culmination of Holy Week in the Christian calendar. This morning's lectionary reading is longer than most, and I am not abbreviating it. I feel that the story merits its full telling in order for the listener, me, you, others, in order for the listener to grasp what's going on. So I am reading from John's Gospel, the 13th chapter. Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to God in heaven. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that God had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You do not know what I am now doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "One who has bathed does not need to wash, except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was to betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example, that you should also do as I have done to you. Very truly, I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him all at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I have said to others, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." There is so much in this passage. The devil himself, or itself, infecting the heart of Judas, the affronts to physical distancing that are part of this story, the attacks on social ordering, Jesus's astonishing, dramatic actions to wash his disciples' feet, Peter's resistance, and then his zealousness, Jesus's explanation of what it means to wash another's feet, and then Jesus's talk about the glory of God and God's new commandment. Maundy, Thursday. Maundy, from the Latin word for commandment. Wash each other's feet so that you welcome travelers, foreigners, sojourners, those who have been banished from their families, those who are sick, those who are lepers. Wash each other's feet, following Jesus' example. Wash each other's feet. It is one thing to welcome others into your home. This is a corner of my dining room. That's a portrait of my mother, done when I was 2 years old, when our house was burning down. She grabbed me first, and then she went in for the portrait, saying, "I will never sit still so long again." Maundy, Thursday. What if loving one another means that we let others wash our feet? Let others shop for us. Let others pull weeds from our gardens. Let others cook for us. What if loving one another means letting go of control and saying, this is the glory of God. The final Jeopardy answer: love one another just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. So much of what I have been hearing and reading and studying this week tells me that we are all a little bit like Judas. We are not so much like Mary. How many of us would take perfume worth a year's wages and prepare someone for burial who is not yet dead? How many of us would toss our nest eggs to the wind rather than piously distribute alms to the poor? In normal distancing times, how many of us would willingly let a dirty stranger rub our feet while she assures us that she loves us and sees the glory of God in our faces? I bathed this morning, but I am still dirty. That is, I have not yet turned myself over to fully follow this new commandment. I am not judging myself, but I am confronted that the commandment, this great commandment, is something that I'm not sure that I can do. Not yet, at least. This does not mean that I would not let others wash my arch and instep and in between my toes. This does not mean that I would not want to follow Jesus to the cross. But Jesus is telling us to let go, to let God take the lead. Love one another. Oh, it's good in theory. I used to work in philanthropy, and in Denver, I had lunch one afternoon with the heir to one of America's great lumber fortunes. And he told me about the heir to one of America's great oil fortunes. And he said of this philanthropist in Denver, she loves humanity. She just doesn't care much for people. I say this and realize the word philanthropist literally means love of humanity. Love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. Jesus said we cannot follow him to this place. What does that mean? But love one another is the new and great and seemingly impossible commandment. Will I let myself love and be loved by those who are not close to me? All I can tell you is that with God's help, with God's mercy, with God's encouragement, with God's spirit of boldness, I shall try. This is Maundy, Thursday. I'm Chris Moore, interim pastor at Montebello United Methodist Church. Stay healthy. God bless you.